Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm excited to start the year off. Today you guys are working from your blended remote schedule. So this is an A-day, so you're working from home, and this is going to be your math assignment. So right now, for the warm-up, I want you to complete the Google form that's in the Google Classroom assignment. Um, don't worry about the class norms. We'll talk about those when I see you guys on Wednesday for our first live class. So for right now, pause the video, fill out that Google form, and then hit submit, and then start up the video again when you're ready to move on. All right. Welcome back. Some class expectations. So I know this year is going to be looking very different, but my expectations are pretty much the same, whether you're working at home, whether we're working live on video, or when we're working in person with each other. So my expectation is to do your absolute best. Whatever it is, you got to give me your best. If your best ends up being a 75 on a test, that's fine as long as you've done your best. Take ownership of your learning. What that means is to communicate. Make sure you're communicating to me whenever you need something. If you're having trouble finishing something or having trouble handing something in or you're not understanding something, you communicating to me is taking ownership of your learning. Make sure you hand your things on time. This is your education. You get to take control of that. Make sure it's not a waste. Take ownership of your learning. And lastly, be proud of your work. It's the most important thing. Be proud of the work that you produce. If you finish something, an assignment, and you're not proud of it, and you're not glad to share it with me, then you're not proud of it. I'm not going to be proud of it. So make sure you get your work done to the highest level and be proud of it. If you're proud of it, it's going to be good and you'll do well. Class values. I have 4, and we're going to add to these expectations and values a little bit, but these are my 4 values that I ask that you uphold in the classroom, whether it's virtual or not. To have empathy means to show compassion for one another and understand another person's, to understand where a person has been, right? Optimism, looking on the bright side. Math is really tricky. Math can have a lot of failures in it, but we have to look to the bright side. Every failure is something good, and we're going to learn from it. Respect each other for who they are and what they say. We're going to assume positive intent. Everything that someone says is going to be out of respect, and we're going to assume that their voice is worthwhile. So we're going to respect each other. And then humility, being humble. We're not going to brag at how good we are. We're not going to brag at how amazing we are. We're going to be humble. We're going to show humility through our actions. Here's your grade breakdown. It's been the same since you started MS 890, which I can't believe that's been 3 years ago. Your grade breakdown, you got your assessments, classworks, and homework. Your assessments are 65% of your grade. It's quite a bit. Classwork 20% and homework 15%. That classwork and homework, those percentages may seem low, but a 0 on a homework can really hurt your grade. Make sure you hand in your homeworks on time. Classwork, I talk about classworks in a little bit. Assessments, so quizzes and projects and tests. I do give frequent quizzes, so make sure you're studying for those and getting those done. I do quiz corrections and test corrections, but that should not be a reason you shouldn't try your hardest from the first time out. So we're going to talk about that class work rubric. This rubric has been the same, and it's been in your student handbook since the beginning. This is pretty much how I grade your classwork. It's out of 4. 4 is the highest that you can get. What I'm looking for is you being proud of your work, consistently contributing and listens during class discussions, consistently provides new and relevant information and ideas, produce high-quality assignments demonstrating advanced understanding and mastery and content. So this is my classwork rubric. Sometimes I do this on a regular basis, so every time you're in class, I will grade you on your classwork for that day. Homework rubric. This has always been the same. I grade it out of 2. Homework this year may be a little different. Myself and the math team have not fully decided how we are going to go about the homework this year. From my last conversation with the other math teachers, I think we're going to do what we did last year and have it weekly, right? So your homework assignment's going to count towards your homework grade. The work that you're doing at home, like for today, will be counted as a classwork assignment because it would be as if you were in class. If you have any questions on any of this, please put it in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Awesome. So you should have filled out that Google form already. If you have not done so, please do so. We're going to do a small, quick lesson just to kind of get the hang of things. Right now we're going to talk about perfect squares and square roots. So pause the video, take out your notebook. Right at the top of a fresh new page, write down perfect squares and square roots. I expect you to take these notes down. Make sure you have them with you at all times, whether we are virtual or in person, so you can refer to them. So today's quick learning objectives is I'll be able to identify perfect squares and find its square root. Let's first start off with this first question. What is the area and side lengths of the following squares? So I want you to pause the video, take about 5 minutes, and identify the area, right? The inside of the square, and then its side lengths. What's the length of its side? Okay? Take 5 minutes, and then we'll come back together and we'll discuss. So I'm expecting you to pause right now. All right, should have been 5 minutes that you spent, or maybe you finished earlier. Let's take a look. For square one, the side length here is 1. So it's a 1 by 1 square, and then the area is 1 unit squared. So I'm going to be proper and write the units. So the area equals 1 square unit. Let's look at square number 2. The side length is 2 units. Then the area is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four square units. Good. What about third square? Side length of 3. The area is 9. Now there's 2 ways you could have found the area. You could have counted the squares like I did with square number 2. Here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or you can remember that to find the area of a square, you multiply its side lengths by each other. 3 times 3, and you'll get 9. What about 4? Square number 4. Good. Side lengths are 4. The area is going to be 16. So again, you can count those squares, or you can multiply 4 times 4 and get 16. What about square 5? Good. Side length is 5. And our area is 25 square units. Awesome. Okay, these numbers are special. Okay, and we're going to talk about them. So on your page, I want you to write, you're going to make a table. And on the left side, we're going to put the side lengths of the squares. Right? And on the right side, we're going to put the areas. But this time we're going to show a little step here. So we can actually do 1 times 1, which is the same as 1 squared, which will give us 1. To get the area, we do 2 times 2, which is the same as 2 squared, which gives us 4. 3 times 3, to get the area, we get 3 squared, which is 9. We can do 4 times 4, which is the same thing as 4 squared, which equals 16. We could do 5 times 5, which equals 5 squared, which equals 25. Good. What if it was 6 side lengths? What would it be? Good, it would be 36. What about 7? 49. What about 8? 64. What about 9? 81. What about 10? 100. Good. We're going to continue actually. Let's do, what about 11? 121. What about 12? 144. 13? 169. 14? 196. 15? 225. Awesome. So these numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, 225 are special numbers. Okay? From our little warm-up here, it does represent the area of a square. That's true. But they're also known as something called perfect squares. And these numbers we want to memorize. So the way we get perfect squares is by taking a number and multiplying it by itself. So before we did 1 times 1, that's 1, 2 times 2, 4, 3 times 3 is 9, so on. Same thing with 36, we did 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8, and so on. Right? And multiplying a number by itself is squaring the number. That's why it's called perfect squares. Also because it's the area of a square with the side length of the number that you multiply by itself. These are called perfect squares. So these are important. You want to memorize these. The next thing I'm going to show you is there's a way to actually undo a perfect square. I call it undoing a perfect square. It's called a square root. Okay. So before we took the number, right? So like we took the number 3 and we multiplied it by itself, 3 times 3 or 3 squared, and we got 9. Here, we're going to do the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is finding the number that is multiplied by itself to get 9. So when we take the square root of 9, it's kind of like saying, what number multiplied by itself is 9? The answer is 3. There's actually another answer, believe it or not. What do you think the other answer is? -3. Good. Remember, 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, is equal to 9. But also, -3 squared is the same thing as -3 times -3, which equals positive 9, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So we know that the square root of 9 is actually equal to positive 3 and negative 3. And we can use this symbol to represent positive and negative 3. Okay. So let's think about some more square roots. So it would be the square root of 1. We can actually go back to the chart that we just did. So it's the square root of 1. 1, right? Because 1 times 1 is equal to 1. What about the square root of 4? 2. Good. It's because 2 times 2 is equal to 4. The square root of 16. It's 4. Good. We do want to add that it also can be a negative. So don't forget that we need that symbol plus or minus. So it's 4 and -4. What about the square root of 25? Good, plus or minus 5. Let's skip around here. What about the square root of 64? So there we're asking what number times itself is going to get us 64. 8 times 8 and -8 times 8. Good. What about the square root of 100? Good. Positive and -10. We'll do 2 more. Square root of 196 and the square root of 225. Square root of 196 is positive and -14 because 14 times 14 is equal to 196 and -14 times -14 is equal to 196. and square root of 225. Positive and negative 15. Excellent. Very good. I don't know why my pen is not doing that. Sorry. Good. Excellent. Positive, negative 15. And that's it. Negative and positive. And that's it for today. We're going to stop there. No other assignment needed. All I want you to do is make sure you complete that Google form. Make sure it's turned in. Take a picture, scan a picture of your notes, and attach it to the Google Classroom assignment so that I know that you took notes along with it because I expect it there, okay? That'll count for a classwork grade. So make sure you scan it, attach it, turn it in. If you're having trouble doing that, please let me know. I'll send you a little how-to. And before you close out, here are the definitions for perfect square and square root. These are the formal definitions. I will talk to you guys soon. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me at jfava@schools.nyc.gov. I'll write it here. Or you could post a comment in the classwork or the stream. All right? Excited to see you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.